Good morning. A little late this morning. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. Let things catch up. Grab a sip of coffee here. Good morning. This is Stacy. We are Loving My Veteran, and this is Walking in My Shoes. I'm a few minutes late this morning, as usual, I guess. It's become the new norm. Just wanted to say good morning, give people a chance to pop on here. I'm going to have a little sip or two of coffee and get myself situated. Lots and lots going on as usual. We have fixed the group, so now everybody will know where they are in the right place. Good morning, Jennifer. And yes, let me know and we'll get together. Just text me or message me what time is good for you and I'll set it up like right then. Morning, Sarah. So I'm a little late this morning as usual. I just tend to do this from time to time. Lots going on. Want to share with everybody. Please do not forget Zoom tonight. 7 p.m. We're going to have AJ Veal from the Shares Military Initiative out of Shepherd Center talking about TBIs and TBI treatment. It is something you absolutely will not want to miss, and your veteran does not have to be diagnosed with TBI in order to participate. If they believe they have a traumatic brain injury, they can work with that as well. So please do not forget that, share that, etc. I've redone a lot of the group page, which should make sense now. There's a new logo on the group, new cover for that. That is our group. That is a private group. We're not allowing the veterans into that group specifically so we can talk. We will be putting out probably today or tomorrow a veteran only group that will mirror this, be the same thing for them so they can do their thing. You'll see also in the group and on the Facebook page, I've put a post in there, kind of what we have and places to click. And, you know, we survive by clicks. Click, shares, donations. That's what we use to survive here. Click, shares, and donations. None of us get paid, but that's how we fund all this stuff. So if you'll follow those, click, share, donate. I about fell over when I realized how many videos Sarah Kim had posted to YouTube. It is phenomenal. And she said what she does is just click play all, and they play in order, or in just play, and so she gets them all the time. So she plays them all the time. I can't imagine me being the voice in somebody's head all the time, but it's there. So wristbands are on there. I'm going to re-put them on there as well. We're going to get them while supplies last because we don't have a whole lot left without reordering. So if you want your wristbands, I will post them again to the page. They're on there further down, but I'll move them to the very top of the group and to the page, and they're going out in the mail today. I've got a bunch of them that are going out, and we've got more that will be going out right after that. So good morning, everybody. Let's talk about this. Rage is okay, tears are not. That's not the reality. That's not what I'm even saying. Rage is not okay, and tears are. But our veterans are taught rage is okay, tears are not. So we don't understand how we get to this point. I was talking to a veteran this morning and asked him a simple question. I said, when you went for help, did you get counseling first by itself, or did you get a little bit of counseling and drugs? How did that go together? And this is the part that's sick. Good morning, Sonny. He said, I went in 5-10 minutes, no counseling, that was all we taught, got drugs day one, and then it took them 20 plus years, morning Stephanie, to diagnose the PTSD. So 20 years he's on this medication to make him feel better, right? But never diagnosed him with PTSD and are giving him medication without therapy to make him feel better. That is because our veterans are taught that it is okay to be angry, or they get it in their mindset that it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be mad, right? That's a normal veteran macho person thing, and that tears are a sign of weakness. So, what happens when we do this is we are not allowing people to address the problem. And yes, Stephanie, it happens almost all the time. It happens almost all the time. They walk in, I don't feel good, I'm depressed, I'm whatever, here's some pills, have a nice day. We never tell people it's okay to cry. We tell people, we encourage people, when you get angry, suck it up, ruck it up, whatever the words are that they use. Get angry, get enraged, go on, do this, and be angry. And then we don't understand why now they're out, we're home with them, and they are angry and enraged. They don't cry. Crying's not okay. Crying is a sign of weakness. And when you feel that you might cry, and instead of dealing with, good morning, Nakia, instead of dealing with the true issue at hand, the fact that it's okay to cry, the fact that it's okay to hurt, the fact that it's okay to whatever, we give you a pile of pills, we tell you to have a good day, we tell you to suck it up, ruck it up, go on, and feel rage, but not feel pain. And then we can't understand why, when they're home with us, now that they're out, why this is the cycle they go through. Why are they distanced? Why is there rage? Why is there anger? Why is there this? When the reality is, a lot of times when they're showing anger and rage and shortness and choppiness to us, it's because they don't know how to show the sensitive side, because they've been told, suck it up, ruck it up, here's your pills, have a nice day. That's the reality. That is what really happens. That is what we're left to unravel. And what have you done in this? I love this. She cried at work one day, and this is when Sunny was active duty. They pulled her security clearance for a week and had a babysitter at work for a week. Yeah, because it's not okay to cry. It's not okay to grieve. It's not okay to be overwhelmed. It's not okay for anything. We are seeing the next biggest upswing is, and you heard about it recently, is the number of first responder suicides. The number of first responders that are now committing suicide is growing at a rate faster than military. It is just huge. Well, when I was a paramedic, we did critical incident stress debriefing. It was required. If you had a bad call, if you had a bad whatever, you were required to sit through critical incident stress debriefing, where we were taught it's okay to cry, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to do this. All of this stuff is okay. You're expected to do it. If you need help, call somebody. Here's a counselor you can go see. All of this went on. We didn't have the number of suicides in first responders until now. We no longer do it because we have to get these people on the roads, because time is money, and if we don't have people out there running calls, it doesn't matter. And now we're watching significantly that number go up. As critical incident stress debriefings went down, the number of suicides among first responders went up. Talking about your feelings and told it's okay to cry. It is okay to grieve. It is okay to be angry. That all went away, and when that all went away, we suppressed it. We had to suck it up. We had to go run the next call, just exactly what our military has done, and we're told that it is not okay. It is not okay. And then they get tough, and now the rage comes out. I have seen my veteran cry, and it breaks my heart. And initially, it really broke my heart. And then when I realized him crying was a better release than the rage. And when it became acceptable to allow that to happen and allow those feelings to happen, the amount of rage went down. But this is the mindset they're in, and we don't understand This is the mindset they're in. Do you know how many veterans are veterans now that wanted to be retired active duty that were told they have to get out because they cried or broke down? A lot. A lot. They don't want PTSD in the military. They don't want it there. They don't want to acknowledge it because it is a sign of weakness. When in reality, that post traumatic stress disorder, a lot of it can be alleviated if they would have dealt with it at the time of the event and not told it's okay not to feel this way. That's what happens. That's what happens. It's insane. Sitting down and telling you, and I go back to, and I can talk from my personal experiences, but I go back to and I see what happened. I had a paramedic student that I coached and coached and coached as an EMT, and he got his paramedic, and he was the most kindest, gentle-hearted person I knew. Big guy, super, super, super sweet, just kind-hearted, loved his job. Went to his first really bad multi-vehicle wreck, and there was a fire involved, and there were multiple traumatic patients. And I wasn't at work that day, I heard, because it's like you hear real quick what goes on, that there was a patient was severely burned that he knew would not survive. And this patient reached out to him and said, "Help me." And he had multiple bleeds and was going to die. I mean, there was no way around it. And this paramedic stepped over him and went to two criticals that were further down in the ditch that were savable. And on his way back up, of course, the other guy had succumbed to his injuries. And as soon as that call was over, I mean, as soon as I knew that was over, I picked up the phone and I called him and said, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Let's talk." And I drove and I met him for coffee, and we talked and we cried and we talked and we cried. And I talked and cried with him for weeks following that was okay, that was a decision he had to make, and it was made and two lives were saved, right? And that was okay. But he had to understand it was okay to cry. But you know what happened as soon as that call was over, because he just came on shift? As soon as that call was over, because he just came on shift, after I got the 10-minute phone conversation with him, he says, "I've got to go. They're telling me they need me back on the street." This is a guy who hadn't had his paramedic but a few days, a few weeks maybe. And he had to make that decision. And I'm talking to him on the phone and telling you exactly, that's exactly what I'm telling you it sounds like. This is what they go through. And they're told, "Don't feel this way. Let's go." They celebrate victories like that. "Oh my God, I took out, and you go back and you look at like Chris Kyle's story, and he talks about, he was honored to be the American sniper, the person who took out more people. And like he said, though, going back, it was somebody else's family. And we do this to our veterans all the time. "Oh, here, you took out something to save somebody. Here, let me give you a medal. Let me give you a medal." They did it to James. We talked about this, my friend's son James, who had to shoot a child because they had a bomb. And what do? They give him a medal, and they put a medal on his chest. Right? They put a medal on this guy's chest and say, "You are a hero because you took out a 7-year-old who saved the base. You are a hero because you took out a 7-year-old." So then he doesn't understand when he gets home and he sees his own 7-year-old, and he doesn't understand that this is now roaming in his base, that this was somebody else's child. And he goes to the VA to get help, and they say, "Here's your medication. Have a good day. Suck it up. It's normal. This will make you feel better." It'll make him feel better to the point that he tried to commit suicide, and I had to come pick him up. And I'm only sharing this story because James has said, "Stacy, share my story." I mean, I've literally been told I can share his story. But that is the reality. So we don't understand why we have all this rage. We have all this rage because they are taught not to cry. They are taught to be the heroes. They are taught that this is supposed to do it. Wow. Mike was supposed to get a Bronze Star because of his life-saving actions, but because he was a private two, they revoked the recommendation because he wasn't high enough in the ranks to talk about a slap in the face. Absolutely. And Stephanie, really want to get slapped in the face? You really want to know why these guys don't cry and they can't do some of the things they get? I read an article. This was from Rand, who is great when they do their research. Rand is so they're not swayed one way or the other. They're independent researcher. Okay, so you go through this thing, and Rand said that there were military who knew they had PTSD. They knew they had PTSD. They knew it. And they went to their command because they were having a hard time or they were really stressed over this particular issue where they couldn't sleep, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. They knew that was there. Okay? They knew it. And the command said, you need to get back out there. That they didn't want to share the problems they were having mentally with anybody else because they believed that a lot of the enlisted were making things up or sensationalizing them to get higher recommendations. Bronze stars, purple hearts, silver stars. Literally, I read that. I like to have had a heart attack and fell over. So, again, rather than treat the problem, right, they're disposable, Stephanie. That's exactly where we go. And then we are the ones left to unravel the rage. They go in and they cry and they cry to somebody and they're crying. They're now deemed weak. Let's be real. Let's be realistic. You're sitting out in a combat situation, right? And you've got your battle buddies or your other buddies with you, and you're out there and you're in a combat situation, and so you're depending on this guy for everything. You're depending on them for everything, and you have a bad situation. You come back, and the guy who is supposed to be the tough guy who's going to defend you is now crying to you. How safe are you going to feel? So they don't do it because they think it's going to show a sign of weakness. And so that's where the anger and the rage come from. We don't get it, but when you start to picture it all, it makes sense. Tears are not allowed. Rage and anger are. And Stephanie, you're right, because we don't matter. We've already discussed disposable. They think the military, the veterans and the military are disposable. The families are non-existent. We're invisible. We're invisible. And we talk about suicides, and I am not for 1 minute discrediting the 22 a day, because there are way more than 22 a day. Those are 22 a day that they're catching that have actively committed suicide. But what about the guy who drinks himself to a stupor and then decides to come off and then has DT, withdraws, and dies, right? And ends up having a seizure, multiple seizures, and dies. What about them? They're not counted in the 22 a day, but they drank to numb the pain. What about the spouses who have become alcoholics and closet drinkers because that's the way that they cope? We're not discussing that. We don't look at that. We don't look at the percentage of marriages that fall apart. We don't look at all those things. And an interesting statistic is, and I thought this was very interesting, military, active duty military, the percentage of divorce is lower than that of the general population. Well, when they dug deeper into that study, they realized there were multiple reasons for that. One, benefits. Two, when you try to divorce active duty military, it creates a storm. And if they're gone, it's even harder to do. And three, most people, when they're divorcing their spouse in that situation, right, in that particular situation, aren't in their home area. So then when they get divorced, they have to foot the bill to go home. So a lot of them stay because of that. But the number of marriages, and then it's even more skewed because a lot of veterans who've had a failed marriage, when they are out, they may not get married. They may live with and have that same relationship, but not legally married. But the number of spouse situation, okay, the number of spouses that are in there that are going through this situation and relationships that fall apart are 2 times the national average. So while you're active duty, you're less. When you become a veteran, it's 2 times the national average. I thought that was very interesting. And it comes because we are left to pick up pieces that we don't understand. We don't understand them. If it wasn't for Carl and Jeremy and some of these other veterans sharing their stories, I wouldn't understand this. I wouldn't have gotten this. I am blessed that he opens up to me and talks to me. And because of that, I can share so much more about the way it works. But can you imagine going in and telling somebody, I need help, here, take these pills? I was telling this analogy to Michelle this morning. I thought she was going to die. But, all right, y'all, let's just get into the womanly mode here and talk about cleaning the toilet, okay? So, and I'm going to lay it all out here because, I have no filter, right? So, inevitably, somebody splatters on the toilet, right? And so what do we do with the splatters there? We go in with our gallon of bleach and we're pouring the bleach to get rid of the splatter problem, right? And we scrub it and we let the bleach sit there forever. And then somebody goes potty on top of it. Well, y'all know ammonia and bleach don't mix and the tears are running down your face by the time you get off and your lungs are burning. So that happens, right? Because we know that doesn't mix. But the reality is this. If we clean the splatters off in the beginning and deal with the splatters off in the beginning, we wouldn't be putting all the bleach, okay? And please, Sarah, I'm talking about cleaning the toilet with the toilet bowl brush, not with the shower, okay? Right? I'm just saying. So, if they clean the splatter off in the beginning, you wouldn't need the bleach, you wouldn't add the ammonia, and you wouldn't be having this toxic thing going on. So instead of dealing with the problem at hand, instead of dealing with the problem at hand, dealing with it when it comes up, our answer is to pour bleach. And then we give them ammonia on top of it. And that's what we're doing. And we don't understand it because by the time we know that this rage is going on, but we don't understand that the rage is really their tears. We don't understand that the rage is really their frustrations. We don't understand it because they're not taught to let it out that way, and we don't get it. And I really believe that sometimes that they are so afraid that if they start to cry, they're never going to stop. I love you. Jason Clean. I'm not even going there. But the rage, that's where it comes from. Okay? And so then and you're right, Stephanie, then what happens is at this point is this rage and this anger is there, and then we get frustrated and we build anger and we build rage and we build frustration, okay? We build all of that up, and now we have this very volatile situation that people don't understand, okay? We have this very volatile, do the Heimlich, sweetie. We have this very volatile situation that we don't understand because anger, it's just like I've always said, negativity feeds negativity, positivity feeds positivity, anger and rage feed more anger and rage. How much anger can you take coming at you before you get defensive and start giving it back? How much can you take before you get defensive and start giving it back? And that creates this crud circle that we're in and this merry-go-round that nobody knows how to get off of. And it goes with everything. It goes from everything. From the fact that they don't think that some of them don't think that they're lovable. Some of them don't think that they're deservable. Some of them did things that go against a moral grain, and they're so afraid that if they ever tell us what happened, that we're going to hate them because they hate themselves for what they did. It is all a vicious cycle. So then when they don't feel that they're worthy of love and we love them with more than we've got, they push us away because they're not lovable and they're broken, and they know that this can't happen. And so it becomes a more vicious cycle. It becomes a way more vicious cycle. Okay? And he had to tell you to use your words better. Girl, he must be listening to them videos you be playing in the house all day. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist that. Sorry, sir. But it's true. Even Carl has to stop me. Even Carl has to stop me. Yeah, and there you are, Elisa, dead on. The portrayal of PTSD in the military. It's like, oh, everybody in the military had PTSD, and those veterans set everybody off, and this is the big deal. So now veterans are bad, and I watched a news thing, and it was just phenomenal. It was on. I love you. Nikia is so great. She can always make me laugh every day. But I saw this and I'm thinking it's on spinning. And so if a news organization wants to spin something a certain way, they make that the top story and they keep playing and playing and playing it over and over and over. Okay? Oh, I'm so proud, Stephanie. Yay. But they play the bad stuff over and over and over and over again to form public opinion. And that's what happens. We play the bad stuff over and over and over and over and over again to form public opinion. Go look, y'all, go look at other groups. I really encourage you to go, and I'm not bashing any group. I'm not bashing any group because if it wasn't for other groups, I wouldn't be here doing this now. But go look at other groups and look at a negative post on other groups. Okay? Look at it. And look at the bash. Look at how it goes in that negative cycle. Look at how we keep putting it up there. So one person posts that something bad happens, and then something else posts that something bad happens, and then something else posts that something bad happens. And what happens? You have a whole freaking page of bad. Right? They have a whole page of bad. So what happens when you're living in this page of bad and you're living in this cycle of bad? you just fuel the cycle. So we have in essence said PTSD is bad, PTSD is bad, PTSD is bad. My whole relationship is PTSD. Everything is bad, everything is bad, everything is bad. Then you have this. We have to change that cycle. You're right. We have to say PTSD is part of them, but it's not all of them, and we're going to change the cycle. And you pick the positivity. Okay? You pick that positivity. You choose to be in this positivity. So now understanding that their anger, yet, girl, I'm with you. I'm looking at Nakia's. There's some out there that wives are so much a detriment to their veterans. I have. I mean, I'm part of the reason I gotten kicked off of so many of them because, um, yeah, and it's okay to have PTSD. Hi, I'm Stacy. I have PTSD. I was a paramedic for 20 years, and I'm sidetracked into two things, but I'm gonna go with the Stephanie thing first. I find this as being so real. I'm Stacy. I have PTSD, and my PTSD came from being a paramedic. And you know what? When I went in and talked to somebody about it, we talked about the PTSD. We talked about the traumas that happened. We talked about the things and let me deal with it. They didn't walk up to me and say, "Here's Klonopin." I actually had a therapy session, and they talked. They didn't just say, "Here's a drug." And now we'll go to Nakia. They don't want real help. You're right. They are such a detriment. I got kicked out of groups. I love it. Nakia and I talk about the groups that we're in. I think it would have been way more fun, Nakia, had I have made my initial list and looked at the ones I got kicked out of, because now I don't even remember. I'm just like oblivious to them. But so you're in there, right? And I finally answered one of them. I was so angry. And of course, I've been kicked out of that one by this time. And I said, if life is so bad with your veteran, and you're not willing to make any changes, and it's all about him, then why have you been with him for 20 years? Okay? Why have you been there for 20 years? I've been kicked out of 6. I think that's pretty amazing. And I find that if if how do you tell somebody to leave if things are so bad that you've been there for 20 years? It blows my mind. They don't have lack of empathy. Well, you know what? They never gonna have lack of empathy because they don't have empathy because they're told not to. Because if they have empathy, they're weak. Because if they have weak, they die. Because if they are weak, then they are not war fighters. And if they are weak, they're going to send them out and they're going to kick them out and they're going to send them home. Or they're going to find a way to other than honorable discharge them. Okay, because you won't get an honorable discharge. You're going to get another, and that was threatened for a very long time. And the one good thing that's going on now, and I'm way past my time, but now I'm on a soapbox rant. The one good thing that's going on now is that they are going back in and reevaluating these guys who got other than honorable or general discharges because they were angry and pissy because they had no other way to deal with their PTSD, and they're changing it to honorable discharges, which makes me very happy because they didn't treat them in the beginning. I have been there. We've all been there. But the difference is we are advocates. We are advocates. Yeah, Melissa, I find it like they're going to be dead soon. We'll get the benefits. I love the fact that they whine that they're not at a two-tier caregiver, and so many questions are, how do I get caregiver? How do I answer the questions? Be honest. Be honest. I love Carl. He is my veteran, my person, and I love him. Do I get frustrated with him? Every day. Does he get frustrated with me? Every day. Has he learned how to cry? Yes. So have I. And we've learned not to let our anger we've learned not to let our anger and our rage fuel each other. We still do at times, but we've learned not to do that because our mentality was suck it up, Buttercup, get back on that ambulance, take the next call, ruck it up and go on. You did your job. Both of us live that lifestyle. And now you put it all in one place, and we're really afraid. Yeah, I know, right? It is about money. You know what? You don't have to give me a dime. I'm not his caregiver. I'm his partner. I'm his partner. I'm his partner, and I love him. And I will deal with the anger, and I will deal with the rage, because we're now learning that it's okay to cry. And I think that we have to understand that. Yeah, no, right. There's way more money out there than that. It isn't like you get a freaking $1 billion to be a caregiver. Okay, it isn't like you get $1 billion to be a caregiver. Trust me, I know. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up because now I'm like rambling because now I got on two topics. I got on one about anger and rage, and then I got the other one about Yahoos, and I don't need to be on Yahoos today because that's just going to get me frustrated before my day goes out. So, couple things. Please do not forget, if even if you just stay for the first hour, let's talk tonight. We're having Jason Veal, Share Military Initiative from Shepherd's, going to talk about TBIs, talk about their state of the art treatment, talk about all of that stuff. Just talk about those wonderful things that they have going on there to treat TBI. And the most important thing I found was it doesn't matter how old that traumatic brain injury is, they can still treat that. So you can ask him that question specifically, but he will be on to answer questions about the program, what they do, how it works. Please do not forget to visit us with AJ. He is phenomenal. Yeah, Stephanie, I'll set an alarm to send you the link, okay? But it is phenomenal. So do not forget that. Stephanie, I keep forgetting to do your Wednesdays, and I will put it out there. Your Wednesday messages are so inspiring. I love you. Even Carl listens to them, so they have been fabulous. Like I said, I fixed the page. You know that the way to support us the best is click, share, like. If you are in this group and have not liked the page, I put a link to click on the page, like the page. Okay? Um, Everything we do when it comes to sponsorship, um, is all based on clicks and plays. So write reviews, do what we need to do to get that out so we can get sponsorship money so we can continue to fund this. I've got the PayPal link on there. I know for anybody who wants to contribute, that's there, and I will put the wristbands back on. I'll put it up at the top so we can all get wristbands if you want them, so we can get all those out. Again, thanks for everybody for what you do. Like and subscribe to YouTube. It is phenomenal. Yeah, and I'm gonna record. Y'all do not let me forget anybody who's on today. Do not let me forget to record the beginning part of the Zoom. We don't normally record our Let's Talks, but when we have a guest, we are recording them so I can dump them over. And Sarah, I'll give you the passwords to that so you can dump the recordings over. But we have that ability now, so do not let me forget to record it. Lots of other good things coming up on the 29th. I think that's the date, 2 Thursdays from now. We are doing the video. Absolutely cannot, the movie. It is phenomenal. Prescribing Normal. It really is going to talk about a lot of what we talked about here. We're going to have a combat veteran on. We're going to have Dr. V is going to be on the panel after it's over to talk about the drug and the way we do this. I am talking to about 10 more people who want to come on, and we've decided that every other Thursday on Let's Talk, we're going to do a live panel question and answer kind of deal. So you'll get an hour of a topic with a question and answer, and we're gonna we're gonna do podcast, and we decided against that, and we're gonna do these instead, so you have an opportunity to talk to the guest we bring on. So that's kind of where we are. I am way over. Carl's gonna be like, Stacey. I'll be like, yeah, I know, right? So now we've done almost an hour of this, which we probably shouldn't do that much. Thank y'all. Have a blessed day. Nakia, I love you. Just for those of you, she just needs a little extra uplifting. She's been through a lot the past couple of days. So, a little prayer for Nakia just to let her know how much we love her. Yes, we should do Reddit too. And I'm not, I told you, Sarah, you have to call me because I'm not all about this stuff. I don't quite get it as well. I'm telling you, I think a hashtag is a pound sign. So, I'm finally learning. All right. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will talk to you tonight. Bye.